have something here. Whoa. That much better. Much better. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I'm messing with this. I'm messing with this mount. Whoa, for the first time. Or maybe this mount is messing with me. It's one of the two. Alright. Trying to get it wrong. Here we go. Alright. On the road. I wanted to show you something up here. My faithful followers. When I was coming in here, I was talking about a heliport that was a pain to get into. I'll show you what I was mean, because I'm going to be on that side of the road. When you're out here on the road, it's expensive. And that's what blows, is when you're out here driving around and you're sitting, waiting on a load. Like, you drop on a Friday and they got nothing till Monday. That gives you 2 days to sit around and twiddle your thumbs. And it gets expensive. I've looked at the YouTube rules about streaming while driving, and there's all kinds of little idiosyncrasies to it, and one of them is you're not allowed to read while you're going down the road. But I'm stopped now. Haha. So hi. I can look back. Hi, Ilya something. We're heading back into town here. I wanted to show you something when we get right down the street here. I was mentioning, I'm a retired helicopter pilot, and the last job I had was flying medical, and they had me bouncing all over the country doing the job. But right up here was probably one of the biggest pain in the rear end heliports I ever flew into, and I want to show it to you and show you why. I'll bail out here just for a second. But today's topic is literally how to save money on the road, and it's, there's no big grand slam home run way to save money, but there are a lot of base hits. Let me get up here. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. You move over, I'll tell my mother. That scared him off. All right, we're going to pull in here for a second. I am in the Woodlands, Texas. This is north of Houston. It's a real nice area. Got a lot of trees, but it makes it really hard to navigate sometimes. But we're going to cruise over here for a second. This is St. Luke's Health Hospital. There's the sign. We're going to come over here real quick. Garage parking, not interested. Wow, this is a wide open parking lot. Usually this parking lot's packed. This is kind of nice. I'm just going to show you this little heliport. And most hospitals, well, some hospitals put their heliport on the rooftop. This particular one has it in an area. They built it years ago, and they started expanding the highway, and then they started putting in power lines, and they just kept adding garbage to it. And eventually we ended up with what we're going to see up here. This is actually not a bad hospital. I was here one time as a patient a long time ago. Here we go. Big bump. Love speed bumps. Love them. Reserved parking. You don't say. Is this? No, it's not a dead end. All right, right down here. Where is it? Yeah, that's it. We're going to be bailing out here for a second. Nobody coming. Nobody coming. All right, this is my nemesis right here. And like I said, we're going to bail out. So, here we go. I am stopped. I can officially play with my phone. Hold on a second here. Jumping out. Yep. Okay. So check this out. This is a heliport I come into at night. All right. That's the heliport. That's a new overpass. And that's the power lines. Now, this might look like a piece of cake, can of corn, bag of beans, but trust me, when you're coming in here in the dark, and by the way, we do fly with night vision goggles, but for some strange reason, the hue of this light bulb cannot be seen in night vision goggles. So you flip your goggles down, this goes away. You flip them up, you go, huh. So you got, here's the middle of the heliport. All right, check this out. So we come in here in the dark. You always land in the middle. You got this power line. It's got the little balls on there to mark it. Now, this might look like a nice, big, comfortable, fluffy area, but if the wind is going this way, that means technically I'm supposed to land from this way, which is straight down, which is not happening. So we had a 20-knot wind the last time I was in here. Had to come from this direction. There's no light out here. You can't see anything. You drop your goggles. These stupid lights go out. This is the only place I've ever run into this. I went down with goggles, came back up, and I said, dude, I can't see these things. And we had to come in here and do a pedal turn around here in the dark with my 2 half-blind backseaters. This absolutely blows. And what's ridiculous is there is a heliport on top of one of these, which they use, but only for certain companies, not us, because we're, you know, the redheaded stepchildren. But they did put down salt here because we did have some ice. But this is the worst heliport to come into. This looks big on foot, but trust me, coming in here in the dark, dealing with this right here, not a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. Not a lot of fun. I haven't had to come in here with 2 aircraft, but I have landed on a field before because of all this. Let's see. Our floor. That bridge is set. Oh, my life was saved by a lifeline. The info is cool. Yeah, it's a full-time gig. When you're at work and they blow the alarms and you get up, you need to get up, get your boots on, get outside, get the aircraft started, get navving, and get off the ground. And I think they gave us 7 minutes was our response time. We had to really do it. But we came in here with somebody. We picked up, I think the woman we dropped off here, hold on, I gotta plug my phone back in. I think the woman we dropped off here had been in a car accident up north, and her car, excuse me, was in a ditch, like on its side, and we don't know how long she'd been there. 10 minutes, 5 hours, we didn't know. Oh wow, Kia. Yeah, this is a Kia. We bought this car new in 2014 and hasn't given us a lick of trouble. Here we are on 11 and a half years. The whole shebang model with all the bells and whistles. All right, backing out. All right, I'm not allowed to read this. Oh, well, thanks. Like you said, I flew for 35 years. I retired / lost my medical the tail end of 2024, and that's why I do the van thing now. But I flew, logged a total of 16,900 hours of flying. Only had a couple of noteworthy incidents, which included an engine failure and a ride into the ocean, into the Gulf. Kept it upright, got the pontoons out, but a couple little snafus along the way, but survived everything, and I'm alive, came out the backside, and I'm happily on the ground now. Okay. We're heading back up. This little topic for this short hop back north is saving money on the road. And the 2 apps that I use religiously are Fetch and Upside. I put my referral code in the description. I finally did that in advance of talking about it. But Fetch is an app that requires very little information from you. They don't, in some places, all they're doing is trying to mine info. Fetch doesn't really care who you are. What they're trying to do is convince you to buy certain products. And you take pictures of receipts. You can do, it's a rolling total of 35 receipts in a 7-day period. And here's the trick, it's receipts. Yours, theirs, somebody else's. Receipts that you found on the ground or in the parking lot or in a shopping cart. They don't really get picky about it. And they give you points. And as the points build up, you transfer them into gift cards. They can be electronic. I think there's an option to send it to your bank account, but I'm not really into that. But they'll give you an electronic gift card. So let's say you go out to Buffalo Wild Wings, all you're doing is holding up your phone and they scan it and you get, $10, $20, whatever your gift card's for, it comes off the bill. It's kind of nice. And it's just from saving receipts. And the rube, don't you do it. Don't you do it. You stay in your lane. Ooh, you're lucky. Anyway, the way the point system works is they say, a lot of us, we buy products, we're not real picky about brand. So you're going to go buy, let's say, spaghetti noodles. And they go, hey, if you buy 3 of this brand, we'll give you 200 points or something like that. They're trying to nudge you in a direction to buy certain products. So that's how they make their money. And they're keeping an eye on what you're buying. And a lot of times it's stuff you're going to buy anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Excuse me. The absolute bare amount of money they give you, or points they give you, is 25 for any receipt of anything, as long as the receipt's no more than 14 days old. My mother saves her receipts and gives them to me. And just go along, and my wife has the same app on her phone, and she collects. I have made, since I started using Fetch, which costs nothing to use, I think I've made about $280. And all the receipts I get off of Fetch, I turn into Amazon gift cards. And I just electronically slide it over to Amazon. And that's actually how I pay for the oil in my van. I buy oil and filters off Amazon, and I do my own oil changes, so it doesn't cost me anything. And I need to announce this. I'm driving and I can't read the phone. That's a YouTube rule that I follow. It's something I just learned the other day, because I kind of may have occasionally read, but I don't do it anymore. So when I stop, I'll look at the comments and stuff while I'm driving. I go. So I use Fetch everywhere, any place I go, and the best receipts you'll ever find on Fetch are Walmart for some reason. They like food items, and I have literally picked up a receipt out of a shopping cart in the store, in the parking lot. Big receipt, and it's so long you got to take 3 pictures of it. I got 8,500 points, and at 12,500 I get $10. So I was almost there off that one receipt. It also does electronic. If you want to link it to your Amazon account or whatever, it'll scan purchases of receipts you've made, and it'll scan electronically and give you credits for those. It's absolutely wonderful. It's a free app. Like I said, I have a promo code in the description. And the other app I use religiously is Upside, and you've probably heard of that one. I talked about it earlier today. Upside gets you a discount on gas, a discount on convenience store items. Some stores will give you 10%, 17%, whatever off inside purchases. It also works at restaurants and in some cases grocery stores. And I was in Wisconsin here a few days ago, and there's a Piggly Wiggly, and I used my Fetch app at the Piggly Wiggly and saved 2%, which whoopee, but I was buying stuff anyway. The trick to Upside is it says, oh yeah, we're giving you 15%, 15 cents off. Make sure their gas doesn't cost 30 cents more than the guy down the street. You gotta kind of compare prices before you just jump on it. But I use my Pilot Flying J app to get 10 cents per gallon because of my veteran status. But I use Upside a lot for gas if there's no Pilot Flying J around, and it's kind of a nickel and dime thing. I looked at my app today. I started using Upside in 2022, and I've made $1,900 off of it, which isn't like the world on fire, but it's nice to get a little $20 kick in the shorts every once in a while, you know. And like I said, check the prices, make sure it's legit, because like I said, if someplace marks their gas up 50 cents higher and says, gee, we'll give you 20 cents back, you're not winning. So you got to kind of look at the prices before you jump. One strange thing about Upside that I've discovered is it's called a claim. You have to claim it, and it holds for 4 hours, because sometimes they only give away a certain amount, and sometimes the dollar figure goes up and down depending on the time of the day. It says, I'm just making up numbers, the gas is $2.50 and they're giving you 12 cents, and you get there and the gas price dropped to $2.39. You're still getting your 12 cents, but you're getting it off the $2.39. I mean, it actually rolls to your favor. So that's kind of a nice little side thing that I bumped into. And then the other thing that Upside does is restaurants. And I've gotten as much as 42% back at a restaurant. Again, it does not come off your bill. It goes on an account that you cash out. So I have, going into these little towns you've never been to, you got to go get something to eat. You're not real, open-minded. What is there to have around here? And you open Upside, and some little off-brand restaurant you've never heard of is offering 20%. You go, well, let me go try that guy. Let me go see, what they've got. And you go in there and try a new restaurant. And it was through that I discovered a place that gave 26% back, called Noodles and Company, which is a wonderful little restaurant that makes great food. It's not real heavy and whatnot. I can see things scrolling on my screen, but I can't read them. This is a YouTube rule. They don't allow us to read as we're driving, so when I stop up here, I will pull off and read and catch up. I apologize. This is their rules. It's a beautiful morning here. It's coming up on 10 o'clock. This is north of Houston. I'm on I-45 northbound. I'm kind of over here in the right lane, staying out of everybody's way. If you'll notice, they have really nice roads here. There is, since this is the perfect time of day, I think I'm going to show you something. They have a Veterans Memorial Park up here. I'm trying to remember how to get to it. They just opened a building. I don't know if the building itself is open, but the walking area is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cruise over here and take a quick look at it. And I'm experimenting with a mount. This is a mount that sits up higher in the wife's hoopty, which is what I'm driving right now. By the way, if you have a Kia Soul, I highly recommend a K&N air filter. They're high-performance air filters that you can clean and reuse. And we stuck this one in the car about a year after we bought it, and I put it in, oiled it, put it in, and it takes a few minutes for the car to kind of react to it because it doesn't know what to do with the power it produces. So my wife drove it, and she came home and she goes, "You know, my car's faster." I went, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, my car has a little more kick to it, a little more pep," and it does. It gives you a little boost in power. You can actually feel it over a standard air filter. Also helps your gas mileage a little bit, but it's a little kick in power. And then you clean it and reuse it, which is kind of nice. They cost $40-something, but you only have to buy one. You don't have to replace it. You just clean it and oil it and put it back in. We're gonna slide over here. Yeah, there's a kind of a neat little park they built over here. I'm gonna show you real fast on the way home. It's made in the parking lot of the library, and libraries aren't getting a lot of customers these days. Yeah, this is an 11 Veterans Museum. It's still under construction, but the walking area is not, so we can go there. I'll show you what they did. It's actually really nice. This place was done. Whip into the park. Yeah, K&N. Pretty much everything I owned had a K&N. Whoop! Can't pull in there. They closed it, blocked it. Psych. All right, whipping in here. Up on two wheels. Yeah, my wife was driving on I-10 down here. They were having flooding, and she was driving in hellaciously heavy rain. And there's, dips in the road, and there was so much rain hitting the ground that it was puddling deep in her car. You've had this experience where half of your car hits deep water and the other half of your car doesn't. Well, when it slammed into the deep water, it's going to yank the car to one side. And what happened is the computer started grabbing the wheels. Just started grabbing and straightening the car out. And the wife was like, "Whoa, did not see that coming." She was caught completely off guard by that. All right, do you have any challenge coins? Time doesn't give you nothing. Expense gas stations, and half the time they don't give you. I've had some of my upside. I'm reading now. Have done me no good, and that's aggravating. Let's see here. Oh, you have to shop at the expensive gas stations half the time. They doesn't give. Yeah, you have to compare numbers. Like I said, if the gas is wildly overpriced, it doesn't do you any good using their service. But you just gotta kind of compare notes. Like this place is giving less money, but their gas costs less, so you kind of throw those around. Challenge coins, you mean for the military? I have a Cav coin somewhere. I don't carry it anymore. Good morning, everybody. Yes, K&Ns are wonderful. This is the third I've joined your stream. I like traveling. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm not actually traveling right now. I'm near home until Tuesday. I go back on the clock. I like to, this is something about this job I like. I got to see the United States from the air flying. And I think of all the flights I did, the most fun, the wife I had, it was with the wife, got to go with me. We flew from Houston to Denver, got on a small jet and flew to Cody, Wyoming, which I'm surprised their airport had a paved runway. Paid $160 for a taxi cab ride to the Wyoming-Idaho border to a town called 10 sleeps. Don't ask. They don't even have a stop sign in this town. And we spent the night in the one hotel they had with the smallest bed I've ever slept in my life in. And then we went to a farm. We called the phone number, and a guy came and picked us up in a pickup truck, and we went to his farm, and there was a helicopter in his barn that somebody had leased for something, and then the guy who leased the helicopter tried to use it as collateral on a loan, which you don't get to rent a car and then use the car as collateral. It doesn't work like that. So the aircraft got taken from the guy, and it was sitting in this dude's barn for months. And he got his tractor out. We jacked it up on little road wheels, and we pulled it outside. It was covered in dirt and dust, and we had to clean it off. And the wife and I threw our bags in. We fired it up, flew, 10 miles, 15 miles to a little tiny airport, filled up with gas, and went on an adventure from the Wyoming-Idaho border to Houston in this little Jet Ranger, and flew along. And a Jet Ranger is a wonderful, reliable aircraft, but if you're looking for speed, all you're going to get is just 85 knots. It just kind of thumbed along, and we topped off with gas. The aircraft had no navigation equipment in it whatsoever, no radios. No GPS. It didn't even have Lorant. It had no maps in it, which isn't legal, but we didn't have any on us. And it just so happens in my flight bag, I had a little tiny GPS, like a little fist-sized one I hadn't used in like 10 years. And it powered up, and I had to teach myself how to use it. Got out my phone, figured out the coordinates for the airport in Rawlins, Wyoming, and then we shot off with this little battery handheld GPS and cut across the middle of Wyoming southbound, thumbing along. And for all of you who have never been to Wyoming, in the middle of Wyoming, there is nothing. Nothing. Zip. There isn't a tree. There isn't a ditch. There's not a fence post. There's not a rock. There's nothing. If the engine quits and we land, which way do we walk? We don't even know. There's nothing here. So we flew across Wyoming, popped out by Interstate 80 by the Rawlins Airport, whipped in there and took on gas. And we fueled the aircraft to the rafters, and the airport sits at 7,000 feet. And it takes a bunch of time, a bunch of power to take off at 7,000 feet. And I was fueled up. And I got the wife in, we fired it back up, and we're going to head to Grand Junction on the western slope. And the aircraft came up to a hover. And in a helicopter, the closer you are to the ground, the less power it takes. The higher up you get hovering, it takes more power. And I'm hovering 2 feet off the ground at 100% power, going, okay, this sucks. So then you kind of inch it forward, and you kind of get through your rotor wash, and then you get a little boost in your lift. You take off. So I had to kind of fake it into the air. And I'm pulling the guts out of this thing. And we started heading south, and we're flying 100 feet off the ground. And my wife goes, why are we flying so low? I said, I'm in a maximum climb, and the terrain's going with us. And we struggled to get this little tiny helicopter up. And we spent the night in Grand Junction, got up the next day, went over the Rockies, and dropped down into New Mexico and got gas, and then flew back home that same day. Or no, we actually stopped halfway, and then the third day we got home. But that was the greatest adventure for aviation I ever got to go on. And now as an expediter, I get to drive around the country, and it's entertaining. I meet some of the neatest people. I've got some stock jokes that I tell when I go into places, when I'm picking up or delivering, and people react positive. With rare exceptions, they react to it. And I really like doing that. I like meeting people, and I like visiting all these different places. But I'm sorry, I'm just running my mouth, which is what I do. But this is a park here. I am north of Houston. Oh, come on, let go. This is in Conroe, Texas, north of Houston. This is a little park they put up. My wife and I checked this out here, but I want to walk around. That's the new building they put up. It's not open yet. It's a veterans something. It says on the front there, a Veterans Museum. But that's been under construction for a while. Should open soon. But they put this up. It goes back to the Texas Revolution. You remember, for a period of time, Texas was its own, was its own country for like 11 years. The Republic of Texas. But that's new. This whole monument is new. Wow. I'm going to bring the wifey poo back here. I've only cruised down here. Nope. That was the sound of old age, in case you're wondering. But this is a nice area. They keep it clean. They take care of it. Let's see here. There is a U.S. Oh, that's a Texas flag. You're right. Texas flag. Oh, those are over here. The big flags are over here. These are less. This is just the Republic of Texas stuff over here. They put up this cool little bridge. It's even got operational hours. I didn't know that. All right. This is, I think it starts, it's different. We were over here a couple of years ago. See what you got here. A gift to the nation. I hope this wind, I'm trying to cover the speaker here so the wind doesn't blow too loud. Ooh, that was noisy. You've probably heard of this, but a WASP is a woman Army service pilots. And I'm guessing these are the people who are part of it. The WASPs, they train females to deliver aircraft. So you had females moving aircraft, fighter planes, bombers, and everything all over the world. They didn't go into combat at the time. I'm trying to cover the speaker again, I'm sorry. Woo, that's loud. All right. I know the yellow one's the 8th Air Force because that's the hat that I wore when I was at work. And this is talking about the B-17 bomber. That was the famous bomber that they used during World War II. And I've actually seen a real B-17 up close. I got to climb into one, and that aircraft is freakishly small. And if you watch in the movies, they always show the bomb bay doors right here. And they're like looking down and the bombs drop, and there's like a little catwalk. Fat boy ain't fitting down that catwalk. The thing's like 4 inches wide. These are people here just trying to grab the barcode. But they put this up. This used to be an open field here for a while, and about 5 years ago they started doing this, which is kind of cool looking. Yeah, this is Conroe, Texas, north of Houston. I'm guessing these are a lot of the veterans in the local area. That's United States Army Air Corps. That was up until 1939. United States Navy, United States Air Force. That was 1947 when that came into being, USMC, the Marines. So yeah, this guy's going way back. That's way back. Give to the veterans. That's kind of nice. Veterans Park. You always make fun of the Coast Guard. It's just tradition. You know, the military, these must be the honor tribute. Somebody named Lewis Hudson Powell. These must be all the veterans. I guess they got a scan code, but I don't want to get too close because it'll take it. You know, the military is not unlike your family, where everybody in the four walls of your house fights like cats and dogs until there's an outside threat. And then all of a sudden, everybody jumps on the same team. It's the same thing with the military. The Marines make fun of the Army makes fun of the Air Force. It's everybody just makes fun of each other and picks at each other. And wow, boy, they got a lot of people here, a lot of names. They throw rocks at each other, but as soon as there's a threat, everybody flips out and starts fighting on the same team. And then as soon as the threat's gone, I remember there was something interesting down here at the end. I'm just going to walk through this. But there's your flags. There's your American flag down there. Yeah, as soon as there's a bullet start flying, everybody gets on the same team. And as soon as the fighting stops, we go back to bickering amongst ourselves. You know, tradition, if nothing else. Oop. Oh, you can read these a little easier. So you guys said, United States Navy, Air Force, U.S. Army, the USMIC, the Marines. That's the translation. USA. I don't know what that is. United States Air Force. I don't know what that one stands for. Wow, they got a... And there's our flags again. This is the park. What's that say? I'm trying to read here. USN, otherwise known as Marines. Well, you know what they say. You know why they have Marines on Navy ships? So the sailors have somebody to dance with. Every branch of the military will give a different name to the same piece of equipment. A helicopter, for instance. The Army calls them choppers. The Navy calls them early birds. The Air Force calls them egg beaters. And as you probably know, the Marine Corps call them... And you know it's true. Oh, Space Force. Okay, you're right. I didn't even think about that one. So there's people that have been in and out of the Space Force already. That's kind of cool. You know, there's people that laugh at that. Ha ha ha, Space Force. You know, they said ha ha ha, Air Force too, at one point. I think it was Billy Mitchell said in the 20s, the air power needs to be its own branch in the military. And this is back when aircraft were like kites. You know, they were paper or kites, and people made fun of it. Well, guess what? United States Space, yeah, they did. It was in 1947 the Air Force was official, because up to that, remember, it was the United States Army Air Corps, and then it was the United States Army Air Force, and then in 47 the United States Air Force. So yeah, you know, sometimes you gotta take that branch, you gotta take that leap. And again, I apologize for the wind. Woo, wind. Yeah, there was something down here that was cool. I remember this. Holy crap, it's getting cold out here. Yeah, we were over here a couple of years ago. This is I'm Star Trek. I'm in Conroe, Texas. This is north of Houston, about 40 miles. But Houston is spreading out. Whereas some cities go up, Houston goes out. So we're like 40 miles out of Houston, but technically we're touching Houston, this area. Montgomery County War Memorial. Huh. Yeah, there was something, at least the wind slowed down. That has to do with the Alamo right there. That's going to be World War I. I'm on the backside, I think, of this. The famous Iwo Jima picture. Sorry about the lighting. That's World War II. He's got a Garand and he's got a bar, a Browning automatic rifle. That kind of looks like a shotgun right there. That's Vietnam. 1983, I'm on the backside here. That's a Grenada. That's the Gulf War. Haha! When I was enlisted, I was in the 3rd Battalion, 367 Armor. That's a 135. 2003, 2011. Come on, let's see what it says. I'm sorry, I think I'm on the backside. Ha! That looks a whole lot better on this side. Look at that. I'm going to go on a limb and say these are people who gave their lives during freedom. I'm guessing. No, the Alamo is not in Montgomery County. Alamo is in San Antonio. A little side note to the Alamo, if you ever visit in San Antonio, there's this little rule that says no building in San Antonio can cast a shadow on it any time of the day. So if you go, James Clarence Murray, Desert Storm. Yeah, if you ever go to the Alamo, you'll notice there's no tall buildings near it. The Beirut bombing that happened in '83, I remember that. Tail end of Vietnam. Oh, that was Korea. And this is the list of the World War II veterans who died. Yeah, Texas is very much supportive of veterans. This famous photo, John Bradley was the guy who wrote a book, Flags of Our Fathers, and they didn't find out till years later. They say this is John Bradley, his dad. Turns out it wasn't. It turns out that's a different guy named something Schultz, Edward Schultz or something. They totally misidentified him, and there were a bunch of little things to it, but it came down to his pant legs, because John Bradley's pant legs were bloused and this guy's wasn't. They finally figured this out recently. Here's your World War I guys and the Texas Revolution. And if you go to school in Texas, you actually take Texas history. You got world history, American history, Texas history. John Goodrich, Albert Grimes, Tapley Holland, Jonathan Lindy. A guy named Tapley. That's a first. Mount. Well, it's, yeah, Iwo Jima. No, it's not that they retook the photo. They put up a little flag, and it was tiny, and they had somebody transport a bigger flag, and they put the second flag up, and then the guy caught the shot. He spun around and kind of shot from the hip and got this picture. Yeah, well, it ends right here. Nope, what's this? Oh, that's not military, that's firefighter. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna wander back towards my car. Man, my hand's getting cold. I'm gonna wander back towards the car here and finish this drive. Yeah, this is a nice area. Yeah, I started, when I was in the Army, I crewed tanks, and I used my Ninja Jedi skills, and I worked my way into flight school, and I got to fly an attack helicopter, which was a lot more fun. Yeah, Flags of Our Fathers was a good book. I'm trying to read and walk. I can't do it. Give me some gum, I'm going to hit the ground. Yep, that father. Yeah, he was involved in it. There was 40 guys in the group that went up Mount Suribachi. They were all involved. It just, that second picture was taken. People try to say it was staged because the photo taken after that one was everybody standing around going, hooray. Yes, that was staged, but that one wasn't. There's video of it, and there's the still shot that you see right there. It's just one of those things. Got to be iconic. I think 3 of the guys in the picture, two of the guys didn't make it off the island alive. Sorry, I'm trying to walk and read, and like I said, give me some gum. It's over. Cornrow, yes. Yes, I am in Cornrow. I've lived up in this area for, 25 years now. This whole area has changed so much. The highway used to be 2 lanes each way. Now it's 4. They're clean. They're nice. Whew. I like the flags up here. Ironically, I don't know what half of them mean. I'm heading back towards the car. Wow, it's way more fun walking with a tailwind than walking with a headwind. Flag of Texas. I think, yeah, that's American flag, Texas flag. I'm gonna fall over. I think the single star, God, it almost looks like a Vietnamese flag, but I don't know. That's the gyrenes right there, the red one. And there's an Army. Nice. Oh, the blue's Navy. First blue, second one I think is Army. But yeah, at night they have the LED lights they put on. They keep this place pretty well lit up. You've been to the top of Mount Suribachi? No kidding. Oh, it's a gold star like the one they used to drape. Not like this, but like this. Okay, yeah, now I see. Now I see it. I'm not seeing it in that direction. Wow. You got to go to Suribachi. Jealous. Yeah, I've got some Suribachi sand and some Peleliu sand at the house. A guy got to go on one of those guided tours and he got a scoop of it and gave me a little vial. It's kind of cool. Coast Guard. Yeah, I always make fun of the Coast Guard. Puddle pirates. Alrighty. Whew. My hands are getting cold. Jeez. Alright, we're wandering back. I'm going to get back in my hoopty, start driving again. But I want to see the inside of this building over here. But they're still, I guess I haven't opened it. United States Space Force. Yeah, that 8th Air Force, the yellow one right there. That was my trademark. I had an 8th Air Force, yellow 8th Air Force hat that I wore as a pilot. And it was kind of a safety thing. I figured if you go down in the water, you have this shiny red thing on, a shiny yellow hat on your head. If you have to do a forced landing in the desert and you're walking out, got a shiny yellow hat. If I'm walking around the flight line, got a shiny yellow hat on. You know, it's just kind of a safety thing. B-17. If you ever watch the old movies or old black and white film, and if you want to know if it's early or late war, this right here is the chin turret. They found out head-on was a weak area. The original B-17s didn't have a chin turret, so they added that later. But like I said, a real B-17 up close is a shockingly small aircraft. I thought they were going to be huge, but nope. This is kind of cool. Killer wind chimes. There's all these people that donated to build this. Wow. Yeah, I want to get in there. When that opens up, that's going to be cool. There's all the flags over there. Oh, I'll show you this one flag I really like. It was during the Texas Revolution when Mexico owned Texas, or Tejas as they called it at the time. And the yokels wanted to branch off and do their own thing, and that's when it became its own country when they went to war. And you know some of the history of that. But I'll show you my favorite flag. That white one in the back, it says, "Come and take it." They said, "Give up your cannons," because they had some kind of defensive cannons, and the Mexican army said, "You can't have those," and that was their flag. Come and take it. I was like, that's right to the point. All right. Wow. Yeah, they changed the name. Yeah, Iwo 2, that's what they changed the name to. Now, something I completely disagree with is Iwo Jima was taken by force and became American territory. In 1968, they gave it back to Japan, which I'm sorry, but I totally disagree with that. You know, the United States lost 6,000 people there fighting. I mean, I think at that point we own it, but they said, no, you can have it back. And I completely disagree with that. All right, let me get back into Mama's hoopty here. Hey, all righty. Here. Yeah, I'm 57 years old, and I'm feeling every bit and piece of bang-up injury that I sustained playing Army. Whew, all of it. But I guess that's the price of doing business. They did provide me with a career as an aviator, which was kind of cool. All right, we're pulling back out. We'll drive a little more here. Oh, well, can I get out here? Let's see if I can slip through this. Yeah, there's Kia gets a bad rap, but this car, I talk about people, oh, you can steal it with a USB or something. This car doesn't have an ignition. It's electronic. There's no key to put in. Okay, dude, I'm driving right here. You see me, right? All right, cool. But like I said, this car hasn't given us a lick of trouble in 11 and a half years. So I have no complaints. How does it feel to be no better than a murderer and a pirate? Well, at least it paid well, and I got to wear a cool outfit. Hold on a sec here. Let's see what happens. Okay, right in front of us. I think I'm going to swing through this also. This thing right in front of us here. About 12, 13 years ago, they expanded the highways up here because there was too many people trying to cram onto too small of a highway. So they finally spent the money to expand the highway, and when they were done, all this area was used as a park and ride. This is a Kia Soul that I'm driving right now. Well, check this out. This shaded area is a free place to park if you want to carpool down into Houston, which I thought was a wonderful idea and a good use of space because they wouldn't have used this for anything else. But look at all this. It's a free parking area. And on the weekdays, there's a lot of people parked down here. And look, you're out of the sun, you know. If you have any hail or anything, you're protected. Yeah, this is a Kia Soul. It's a 14 model, and it's called the model we got was called the whole shebang. So it's got all the bells and whistles. And I bought a lifetime subscription to satellite radio in 2005. So I am 21 years into it. And it's in this car, and it's been in here for 11 and a half years. So when we go on trips, we get to listen to everything we like going down the road, which is wonderful. Yeah, but this is kind of nice. I like this. It's a good idea. Yeah, but you see, there's different parts of the country where robberies are normal, and I drive through those. This area doesn't have a crime rate to speak of. It's pretty calm around here. We don't, you know, people don't have stuff getting stolen and robbed and broken into. You notice there's no trash on the ground there either. I mean, just people kind of take care of the situation. So different parts of the country, yeah, underpasses are tornado magnets. That's the freaking truth. All right, I got to start driving again. I don't get to read for a minute here. The Honored Mission Veterans Museum. That's the name of that. Yeah, this was all trees, this area right in front of us for the longest. This big freeze that happened didn't affect us because our power grid is in Beaumont along the coast. But any time a hurricane comes in, we take it in the shorts because our power grid is down along the coast. So it's kind of a double-edged sword here. I gotta wait for an opening. Hold on here. There's a turn here to our left, and the problem is the wall is tall enough that you can't tell if somebody has their turn signal on until they get right up on you. All right, here we go. Moving over. Alrighty. Oof. Now my nose is running. Here we go. Now I want to get back on the highway up here. Something they have here in Texas. Let me show you this real quick. You know, when you're trying to turn around, this is the only place I've ever seen this is Texas. Check this out. We get our own U-turn lane, so you don't have to go through all these traffic lights. How's this for cool? Instead of going through all that garbage, you just do this. First place I ever encountered this was here in Texas. Haha! I'm very easy to entertain, by the way. And you have a triple lane feeder, and I'm going to run down here and do it again, going back the other direction real quick. Yeah, just give me something shiny and flashy lights and stuff, and I'm totally entertained. Yeah, but a triple lane feeder road. Coming down here. There's another hospital down here, Conroe Hospital. I flew in there. They have a rooftop landing, which is kind of nice. Oh, and when you're flying as a medical pilot, you know when you go into a hospital, they have those rooms that say authorized personnel only. When you're in a flight suit, you get to go into those areas. And they have snacks and stuff. Get up here a little I said, I'm not allowed to read while I'm driving. This is a YouTube rule, so when you get stopped here in a minute, I'll take a peek. I see a bunch of stuff popping up. There's the Volkswagen dealer. Those communists stopped making the Volkswagen Bug, and they've gotten a scathing letter from me about that. I would buy a Volkswagen bus today if they put a gas motor in it. Communists. I don't think the Europeans realize how big the United States is. If Texas was a blanket, you could cover Western Europe. And I don't think the Europeans grasp that concept. Let's see here. Ooh, I get my own lane. Check it out. Nope, see another U-turn. Missed the turns. Get up here a little bit. This is the car dealers on the right. The Ford dealer's been there forever. Again, notice triple lanes here on the side road, which is kind of nice. Getting ready to hit the highway again. Yeah, we went to the wife and I drove this car up to Cleveland here a couple of years ago to go do a podcast about the Cannonball. And this car went like a champ. We're very happy with this. You know, when you're younger, you play musical cars, but when you're older, you kind of get a car you like, and you just hold on to it, period. But let me get up here and jump back off, and I'll look at what people are putting in. We had a rain shower pass over here about 3 years ago. I was right in here, and it was raining so incredibly hard. Everybody stopped in the road. Everybody just stopped. No movement on the interstate because you couldn't see 10 feet in any direction. So everybody just stopped, put a car in park for like 15 minutes, and just sat there getting blasted by the shower. And then it eased up and we started moving again. But I have in my entire life never had that much rainfall on my head. I was on the phone with my wife and she's like, "What's that noise?" Yeah, no, this is I-45 northbound. We're going through Conroe right now. This is an area that expanded about 10 or 12 years ago, and it's really nice. This goes for quite a ways up here before it pitches back into 2 lanes. But the roads are nice. You notice there's no potholes and there's no trash, and it's taken care of. Oh, and I'll show you one more little idiosyncrasy. This may be other places, but I've only seen it here. If you want to get off, but you don't want to go through the traffic lights, check this out up here. We bypass the traffic. It's another weird thing they do. This exit, the speed limit on right here, it's 40 feet. As you get off, a cop used to sit in this parking lot, pipe down a power box, and blast cars right here. Because at this point, everybody's going highway speeds. You know, they would zap you with radar and pull you over. It was kind of a thing they did for a while. They finally stopped. Stay out of my lane. Don't you do it. You're lucky. So if you go to the right, you'll go up a little hill and there's a traffic light here. But check this out. This is how you bypass the traffic light if you don't want to get out this exit. This just helps the flow of traffic. But now when I get over here, I'm going to have to dodge across a few lanes. Gas is $2.19, by the way, here in Texas. I'm looking at the sign. Okay. Now I'm going to slide over. Slide over. There we go. I'll pull in here and do a quick scan. Ooh, well, that's a tank ditch right there. Alrighty. And hold on. I'm gonna park right here just for a second. Take a look at this. Where is my... Okay, here we go. I can look at this. Yeah. Don't be scared. It took 10 minutes to find the next one. What the hell is I-35 in Austin? I-35 is a north-south highway that actually goes pretty far through the United States. Remember, the even numbers are east and west, and the odd numbers are north and south. So I-35 is a north-south highway. I've been up and down that one a million times. Yeah, I served my time in the military, and the benefit of that so far is I get to use the VA for medical, and I don't pay for my medical stuff or prescriptions or whatnot. So that's kind of a nice thing. All right, well, I'm getting ready to head back to the house. I'm glad you guys could see what was going on, but I wanted to say, if you get a chance, load the Upside app and Fetch. Fetch is in throwing a stick for your dog. And I've got my referral codes in here. They can save you money on the road. They can save you money if you stay home. The points don't expire. You don't have any limits of how much you can do. And I use them all the time, and that's towards expediting. But I'll let you guys go. Monday morning, we're going to be driving into Houston on the HOV lane. I want you to see what it looks like and how the traffic flows. But I'll catch up with you guys on Monday.